All right, I think I'm live here. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Walt with Flower City Cards. Yeah, just it's a Monday here. Just wanted to kind of take some time to do a quick video, do like a little channel update, little like wholesale program update, kind of what I'm doing right now, um, and kind of just I don't know, just kind of talk. 'Cause I know it's been a while since I posted a video. It's basically the middle of summer. So quick update on like myself. We're getting ready for a wedding in October. So everything's kind of like ramping up here. It's getting pretty crazy. But it's only gonna get it's only gonna get more hectic as we get closer to October here. So a lot of like meetings with vendors and all that all that fun stuff. Really trying to like prioritize getting back into the gym and just being consistent with like weightlifting and stuff like that. So just trying to go into the wedding feeling really good and obviously looking good for it and feeling confident going in. So that's kind of what's been going on outside of all this stuff, and then work and like the full-time job, right, has been taking up obviously the majority of my time. Um and then there's the wholesale program. So wholesale program, I guess like just a quick update on that. Everything I would say is pretty much just like status quo, right? Like allocations are allocations. Like we're always going to kind of, there's always going to be kind of I would say a strain or a conflict on that. And going forward, we are in the works of like, continuing to build relationships with people and build our allocations. And it just doesn't look like in the near term or the short term that anything is really going to change, because I haven't seen any massive changes or movement in what Pokemon's doing and how they're rolling out product. And um, there has been some, I would say some like outside of the Silver Tempest Lost Origin major booster box reprints that happened, a while ago. Haven't really seen any like massive booster box reprints at all. So I don't know if Pokemon's just deciding, hey, we're not going back and we're not going to reprint stuff. We're not going to reprint booster boxes. We're just going to kind of roll out reprints in the form of these like 10-pack collection boxes. That might be what their plan is going forward. So they kind of satisfy the investors, and also the player base, right, by rolling out new product and people who kind of weren't able to get that product in the initial waves, because I think a lot of those collection boxes are going to end up at big box stores. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, obviously, like, we'll make adjustments in the program as needed, and we'll adjust to kind of the market conditions. But yeah, as far as reprints go, I haven't really heard anything. I've just seen kind of the news that I think a lot of people who watch YouTube and kind of read on different platforms. I'm kind of digesting a lot of the same stuff, and then I'm getting some information in the back end and kind of just taking things in and seeing what's going on. So, but I can tell you right now, I don't think Mega is going to be a whole lot different. Unfortunately, it across the board, it seems like 10% more allocations, but we'll see how that goes. And obviously, as a program, we've kind of shifted things around and like what we're incentivizing people to pick up and our spend ranking and stuff like that, and what we're applying the weights to like specific products, so that like we're all more kind of like focused on picking up the products that are really going to boost our allocations, right? Which is like right now the only thing that you can really buy are like supplies. So that's been obviously it's been more difficult for people who are just kind of joining, but I think the message has been, this shouldn't last forever. I don't know how this is sustainable. It's whenever there's products that drop and you can instantly double your money, that doesn't make for a very sustainable TCG or business or whatever you're doing, right? Like where there's things like that happening, eventually it's driven by hype and FOMO, and that's going to subside, and people are going to move on to the next thing. And here we go again on the cyclical, I guess, path that is that is Pokemon trading cards. So we'll probably have this for another 1 to 2 years. I don't know. Depends on what goes on, in the macroeconomic field, or just outlook in general, and also what they do with ramping up or not ramping up product, right? Because that's going to drive everything. But as far as the wholesale program goes, kind of just keep chugging along, right? We've made access to it very limited, and as people kind of leave, we'll assess, people coming in on a case by case basis to kind of backfill roles and backfill spots, and that'll be that, right? And not really going to change a whole lot until either number one, Pokemon starts printing a whole lot more product, or we can start getting even more allocations from some of these other relationships and people that and groups that we're working with to kind of help build those allocations up. So as far as wholesale program goes, not really a whole lot there on that front. Um, and then as far as and this is probably gonna be a quick video today. I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts here. I had a little bit of time here in between meetings, and wanted to just kind of take a break after lunch and kind of get this out there because I know I haven't been posting videos. But as far as like what I'm specifically picking up or doing or moving and like the moves that I'm making, because I again like similar to most people, right? I'm not anything special. I'm not different. I'm just going to tell you guys what I'm doing, and then you guys can figure out what makes the most sense for you because that's different for everybody. But I made the biggest purchase I think I've ever made in this hobby last week. I picked up a crap ton of 151 bundles. Had a one of our distributors kind of approached me and say, "Hey, I've got like a ton of these," um, you know, and I had, that wasn't unsolicited. I had kind of told him, "Hey, outside of the specials and like the standard product that we're moving, like, is there anybody that you can source, basically a ton of these 151 bundles for me from?" And we were able to make something happen. So basically, uh, I bought those. They landed last week. I packaged them up. It's actually nice if you buy 60 at a time, or if you can get 151 bundles in multiples of 60, they actually fit into an ETB case pretty well. So like you can put 60 60 bundles inside of an ETB case. They don't really move around a whole lot. They fit pretty nicely. So that's been kind of my goal, is to just kind of stack and you know accumulate as much as I can right now, because we are just at the about the 2 year mark. And even if they do continue to print more product, I believe in the set. I believe in what's going on, right? I believe in Pokemon the IP. Um, I keep asking myself, like, what am I waiting for? What are we doing here, right? Do we really believe in it, or do we not believe in it? And it just seemed like the right time. And we're right before the winter, right? Right before the holidays, right? They may come out and they may dump a whole lot more product, and that's okay. Because like if that happens and I get another opportunity to buy more, I'm probably just going to buy more, because eventually they are going to stop printing product. And I'm at a point now where I can kind of just sit back and I don't need to sell that product off for everyday life or expenses and things like that. So that's kind of been one thing that, like, at least for me myself, like as a goal, right? I've been, and this is something that, like, over the last 6 7 years of being in this hobby and like listening to other people who are doing it better than I am and have been around longer, like they've said, the the best or the top performers, right, are the people that can really sit on product and wait, right, and not have to worry about flipping stuff and reaccumulating that, or extracting that capital back out of your assets, right? The people that can really wait, um, people who are truly prepared to meet the opportunities and capitalize on them when they come, right? And right now, I think, and obviously, I'm telling you my position, right? I have I would say a little bit less than like half of my TCG portfolios in 151, because I really believe in it that much. And that's what I felt about Evolving Skies. And everything's relative, right? Like the TCG portfolio, as you're in this business longer and longer and longer, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, as long as you're continuing to take profits, not leveraging yourself or over leveraging yourself. And, you're able to kind of do it responsibly. And at the time, I think Evolving Skies was, again, the largest purchase I had made. I believed in it heavily, right? The evolutions, everything, right? History is already written on that set. It ended up being the best performer in Sword and Shield, and it's not even close. Um, so, I went in heavy on that. I was able to wait. Some of the boxes I probably sold a little bit too soon, but I was super super happy. I mean, like, if you're selling anything at 2 to 3x or 4x, it's everything's relative, right? You got to figure out. You got to have a conversation with yourself about when it makes the most sense to start selling things off, right? And at the time, right, I was getting engaged. I had a bunch of expenses on my duplex, right? I had a bunch of, like, I had both water heaters go. I had a bunch of other expenses. Like, it just made sense, right? Because I didn't want to kind of dip into other things that I just didn't need to be dipped into. So I ended up selling off a sizable portion of that and Sword and Shield at like spring of last year. And don't get me wrong, I did a very good job, right? But if I could have waited another 6 to 12 months, it probably would have been 4 to 5x what I sold it for. And that's why, fast forward to today, I think that the purchase I just made and the accumulation of 151 that's been going on over the last 2 years eventually is going to put me in a position to. I really truly believe that 151 is going to be kind of the set and the investment that's going to get me over into that kind of like that next bar, that next uh, that next level, right? Where I'm really going to be able to start, like, um, snowballing in a really big way. So that's my opinion. That's what I'm doing. Um, I think this hobby sometimes people are almost over analytical and they do too much, and they get into the numbers too much. And don't get me wrong, you need to do your due diligence, you need to be ready, you need to, like, understand what exactly you're buying, right? I'm not saying just go buy the next set that comes out tomorrow just because it's pre-selling for 250. But if if we take a step back and think about what the set is, it's the original 151, right? There's a lot of, I mean, the set has great set identity. People are master setting it right and left, right? They want to buy it. Look at the sales volume and the throughput on TCG Player alone, right? I understand, like, TCG Player is not the end all be all. I get that, but TCG Players, let's say, user interface is the most friendly and it's the most clear cut and black and white to understand. So all of these things, point to this set just being a home run in the future, just like Evolving Skies. Um, it's I don't know. It's it's kind of a slam dunk in my opinion. Um, and I'm not saying it's obvious by any means, but it's probably the most obvious it could possibly be. And we have to have, like, World War III for that investment to not pan out. And even if it doesn't pan out, right? It's it's okay. I'm putting money there or into that set that, if it went to zero tomorrow, like, would it suck? Absolutely, 100% it would suck. Like, I'm not saying, like, I wouldn't be devastated, but it's not going to be a life changing kind of issue for me. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? Is like, okay, now I've been in this for a little bit longer. Um, I've kind of been through the ups and the downs, severe ups and downs. Um, I think I have a good understanding and a good grasp on the trajectory of what's going to happen next. And once 151 starts going out of print, and not even going out of print, but once they start kind of slowing down their dumps into Target and Walmart and all these other places, and you start to see less and less inventory come to market. I mean, TCG Player is only a few listings away from being $80 a piece for the 151 bundles. So, and I know that can change tomorrow. And like I said, if they dump more tomorrow, I'm just going to buy more and dollar cost average down. So, um, that's what I'm doing specifically for 151. I spent the most time on that because that, in my opinion, is the best play right now, and I believe that. I believe that my moves are reflecting that I believe that to be true. Um, and then outside of that, I'm really I bought, I think, another several hundred packs of, like, Astral Radiance, at like 650 a piece or something like that, which is, like, basically near market. So I didn't buy it. Like, I bought in bulk, but I didn't get a discount. And to be completely honest, I said, you know what, I'm not going to go kill myself looking for this product. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to buy it because I believe in it, and I believe in Sword and Shield, specifically the last four main sets. And even Crown Zenith is good, but I had already done that same thing for Crown Zenith. I want to say it was like back when Crown Zenith was. I think I got all of my Crown Zenith packs back around 460 a piece, right? So again, I looked at that set. I said this is way too undervalued, or way too undervalued. I know that at the time they had just dumped a ton of supply on the market, right? So I kind of lucked out with it, not with the market not seeing any more dumps of supply. Um, but again, if they dumped more supply and let's say it went under 450 or $4 a pack, I would have just bought more. I would have doubled down. And it never did. And to be honest, I never got another opportunity to buy any more Crown Zenith. I kind of waited too long. I kind of wished I'd been buying more. And don't get me wrong, I did very good on that play. But it could have been scaled. It could have been a scaled play at significantly 2 to 3 to 4x more, and it wouldn't have cost me a significant amount of capital either. So, Crown Zenith, it's doing pretty good. Same thing with celebrations. I think I got all my celebrations packs at around $7 a piece, and now here we are. We're getting closer to 30th anniversary. That's another one. I bought that at the very very tail end of last year. It just seemed like an obvious play. I mean, we were approaching the 30th anniversary. This happens every time, right? Generations is going nuts too. It doesn't really take a genius or somebody who has crazy analytics and a crazy like model, a predictive model in the background to kind of figure this stuff out. Pokemon is probably one of the easiest things you can predict, but you need to have a firm understanding of the risks and what your downside is, right? And that's where I think a lot of people fall short is they just kind of jump in. They don't really they say, "Oh, this is doing really well. Let me just jump in." It's like, "No, you should have been jumping in a year ago." Like if you understand what you're buying and you know the set's really good, and it has really strong fundamentals for whatever reason, right? That's the time, when those types of sets are down, that's the time you should be buying, right? Not when it's on its way up and we're reaching new highs. Like I'm not saying to do that, right? And eventually 151 is going to get there, and we're all going to look back and we're going to say, I wish I bought more. And I bought the most the largest purchase I've ever made in this hobby for myself personally. And I guarantee you, in 2 to 3 to 5 years from now, if it gets that long, depending on how crazy and nuts it gets, but you know, come that time, I'm sure I'm still going to tell myself, you could have probably done a little bit more here. You probably could have gone a little bit harder into it. I know that's going to happen. I think we all, underestimate sometimes what's going to happen. I mean, the fact that Evolving Skies booster boxes are above $2,000 now is kind of out of this world, at least in my mind. I know that we are, it was released in 2021. I want to say, so it's maybe 4 years old. I think, if I'm remembering the timeline of Evolving Skies, I think it was released in the summer. I don't quite remember. I just know it was a 2021 set. But 4 years later, MSRP'd at $143, and it's sitting at $2,000. That is pretty freaking wild. So, just you guys got to buy and invest in what you believe in, and as of right now, for me, I'm going to continue to buy really good 151 deals, even loose packs. Like if you could find loose packs, $8 to $9 a piece, even around the $10 mark right now. You know, you can always cost basis, or like average, average down your cost basis if they continue to drop more product, right? And that's very possible, right? We could continue to see product into the end of 2026. I mean, it's a very real possibility. Never say never. Don't count them out, because obviously they like to make money, and every time they print 151, there will always be a buyer, and they will always be able to move it. So it is a cash cow for them right now, and don't underestimate them being able to print it into oblivion again, right? Um, so yeah, 151. Any kind of later half Sword and Shield product. I'm picking up loose packs right now. I am not buying prismatic. I'm not even coming close to touching prismatic. Um, Sometimes if I hit the Pokemon Center 150 or 151, the Pokemon Center prismatic drops, I think I hit the last one. I got two of those. Those I put in the bubble wrap. I threw them downstairs on the shelf, right? Like I think those are going to do exactly what 151 Pokemon Center ETBs are doing. Granted, I think they were probably printed more than 151 Pokemon Center ETBs. I still think they're going to do really, really well. So, like, if you can find Pokemon Center drops, I think that's kind of an obvious at this point for Prismatic. But otherwise, I'm not buying Prismatic. I'm just not because I think we're going to get another 1 to 2 years of heavy printing of that set. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we are. As far as like selling product, not really doing a whole lot of selling. More just kind of accumulating stuff before the holiday season. Because the holiday season, right? Everything's going to kind of see an uptick, right? What is it? Rising tides raises all ships, lifts all ships. Probably botching that, but you know, I know that everything is up right now. It's the summertime, um, so it's going to be pretty wild to see what happens comes the winter when everybody starts to really get back into it and starts to pay attention and starts to see like, oh, got kind of FOMO back in, right? And we're going to be going from the holiday season into the 30th. So hype is going to be again at an all-time high. We're getting into the anniversary hype. It's different than normal hype, right? Of a new set that's really good, right? It's not like your Team Rocket 151 hype type stuff. It's going to be an anniversary type hype. They're going to do um, they're going to do the whole promotional stuff, right? Last time, 25th anniversary, they did you know, it did some promotional marketing things with like Ed Sheeran. They came out with Celestial, that song. What else did they do? They had the Post Malone, like virtual concert. Like that was kind of cool, right? But you're gonna get a lot more promotion, marketing, new games coming out, right? You're gonna start to see another wave of people come into the hobby. You're going to continue to see people leave because that's just how trading cards and this hobby works and collectibles works. But you're going to start to see another wave of people come in that never had an opportunity to buy your evolving skies, your 151, your prismatic, right? That kind of thing. And they're going to buy because they're going to think right now is the best time. So just be prepared. I know the market kind of sucks right now, and market prices are kind of at an all time high, even though this we're at that point in the year where it should be the other way around, and it should be lower. But if this is the low for the year, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens going into the holiday season and into the 30th. So again, we're at the 23-minute mark. I just wanted to. I had no notes or anything. This is just like I'm just talking. I'm looking at the camera right now. I have nothing on my screen. Just kind of talking through everything. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. Leave a like. I don't really drive like building the YouTube channel. I'm just kind of out here, providing an update, mostly for like the membership base, the Discord, that kind of thing. But if you guys do like it and you want to stick around, let me know. And if you like this specific kind of video, let me know, and I'll continue to throw them out there when I get a free 20, 30 minutes. And I'm probably not going to put any time into editing this like I do with all my videos. I don't really edit anything. So yeah, so anyways, that's all I got for let's call it the August 2025 update, before we head into the craziness that is the holiday season and the winter months and then the 30th anniversary. So as we kind of get closer or get into that time, we'll go back and kind of look at I'll go back, rewatch this video, see what I said, and see how everything panned out. So until then, guys, appreciate you watching, but I'll see y'all next time.